Oh, here we go again. Stay tuned and all will be revealed. Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, before I go any further with this video, I'd like to thank everyone for their lovely, kind comments regarding the mill and everything regarding the situation that it's been put into, and it's so kind of you to say. I really appreciate it. And also for those people who'd made suggestions about what I could perhaps do in this area here. Now, I have come to some decisions, and one comment particularly was about a river, and that coincided very nicely with a thought that was developing in my head. It came a couple of hours after I'd had the thought, and that thought was, if I track you back down here, you can see we've got New Mill Central just there, and as you go further over you can see it crosses a bridge. And I thought, if I track through on Google Maps, are there any bridges that look kind of like that? And to my surprise, I discovered this. Now, this is Google Earth, and you can see there is a viaduct, and that is Goyt Cliff Viaduct. And here, as you can see just there, is the River Goyt, which now you can see ties up beautifully with the comment that I had. Now, you can see the picture of it there. So it does actually have 4 arches, and then this bridge section, which is over the river. Now, if you think about it, we can have 4 arches or 3 arches across there, and then have it disappear sort of into this section. So I could probably get away with 3 arches. And then the the bridge section just there. Obviously these blocks can be replaced, that's no issue whatsoever. And that would then simply tie up with a bank coming in, a little bank this side, and the river could come along here and then disappear into the back scene. Bit of trompe-l'oeil painting work on the back scene there, and it disappears there. I'll be honest, at this moment in time, I'm not totally sure what to do with this on that side. Whether the river could just disappear into a bank and then appear to go down a pipe. I might make a pipe and actually have it come up and physically go down. I don't know at the moment, but all these things will add interest, and I can investigate what sort of pipes, or what the pipes might look like for a river disappearing. But that's the basic plan of that. And then obviously that will then disappear around going into what will be Glossop, and then obviously if a train comes back that way, that will over there will be Hadfield, as small as it might be. But anyway, let's crack on with this back scene. Right, now that does look a bit daunting, and obviously that's just A3 paper. Now you may or may not be able to make out there is a line kind of running around there. It's barely visible, but that's the type of height that I'm thinking of. I don't want it the full height. You saw when the previous board was there, it blocked off quite a significant proportion of the layout, and I don't want that to happen. I may actually just take that measurement of the bridge and have it coming fairly straight and with a very gradual incline up to this point. So it is a smooth transition, but nevertheless there is a transition to something smaller, so that it doesn't block off the other half of the layout. Now, some of you may say to me, why didn't I just remove this? Well, the reason being is because this is countryside, and obviously you can see it's got its own style of back scene there. And if I flip you over, obviously Piccadilly has got that own back scene. So I can't sensibly mix the two together. There has to be some kind of transition at some point. And the whole point of the layout is to put known landscapes together in a much closer proximity, but give the illusion that they're actually miles apart. And that's the way the layout is created and concepted, if you like. That sounds all highfalutin, doesn't it? But anyway, so I will crack on with that. I will get that measured and cut, and then I'll show you, and then we'll make some decisions, and then we'll potentially start making the actual board itself. Welcome back. Now you can see I've cut down the template now, so you can get an idea of what I'm aiming for. So as I said before, obviously we've got to come from this height down to that height. So there is a flat section at this point just here, and then there's a gradual incline coming up to meet up here. Now I think that might just work. If it comes down too sharply, I'm not sure that's going to look quite right. So I'll go with it for the time being, with the reservation that I might cut that bit down a little bit more. I don't know at this moment. I was thinking all along, because obviously whatever I do to the other side is going to have a direct impact to this side. And this back scene will continue as if it's going out of Manchester. Now, whether it's realistically coming out of Manchester as that is another matter. I might just join bits together, but I'm perhaps looking maybe at an office block which crosses over there, and a building underneath there. Whether it be a wall or whatever it is, I don't know at the moment. That's not for now, potentially next year or late this year if I get to it. But I think the fact that that bit of back scene just steps back gives me the opening I need to potentially continue with that back scene painting there. So I think that will work. So I will pursue this, and obviously the next stage then is to start making it out of 2mm grey board, and I'll show you that shortly. Welcome back. So you can see now I've put the basic board up. There's 2 layers there, and I'll explain what I'm going to do for that shortly. It needs a bit of fettling. This isn't quite right. It needs cutting back to about here and cutting down as well. It's a little bit too high, so it just needs a little bit of sorting out. But what I did do from the last one is I decided to cut this section down by quite a lot, so it was about 1 inch higher at this point. And I think looking at it now, it does look a lot better. Seeing things certainly from this side, which I won't show right now, if you'll forgive me, it just blocked the view. And I think now you can see this area an awful lot better from that side. But as you can appreciate, I've got to have this section isolated from that section because it's a different zone. And I can't mix the countryside with the industrial coming out of Piccadilly Station, so it's got to be separated. And I think a lower divide, scenic break, whatever you want to call it, where I can sort of build above it with trees and buildings, etc., etc., I think will work an awful lot better. Anyway, next stage. Right, basically, for those who've not seen me do this before, I've done it a few times in the past. I've got these brackets which are glued or screwed to the baseboard. So the next stage would be to draw around those with a pencil. All of them that one's just positioned this side just to help it stay where it is, but that would be drawn around, etc., etc., all the way around. And then you pack up the gap with 2mm grey board, and even above here, just pack it up, leaving a slot ready for these bits to literally just slot back on. Just really quickly, there's the structure as I described. So this piece will now get stuck to the face there and then create these slots, which will then just slot over these brackets. Hope that's fairly clear. Okay, so that goes all the way up there. So there it is with the skin fitted, and just give you a bit of a pan round. Now if you do look closely, it is a bit on the rough side. The clamps have made marks in it, and there's another one there, another one there, and obviously that total, well, there's a few all over it. And you'll also notice that this hasn't lined up. The reason it's gone like that is because this track is angled, and that is sort of taking the shape of it really. Each board has sort of shifted along a little bit. But what I've had to do is I've literally soaked all these edges, a lot of the bottom, well, most of the bottom edge, some of the top edge as well, in super glue, and literally just let it soak in. And then I can then go ahead and get it all smoothed off with a file. I've got some filler which I can then just skim over to the surface of that. If need be, put some more tape on it, whatever, masking tape that is, etc, etc. Skim over with more filler and stuff like that. So that will then sit on these brackets. Now, I've had a bit of an incident here. This bracket wasn't fixed down, and for some reason or another, glue got caught, or the tape got caught up inside the board, and it literally just pulled it off. So I'm not putting it back onto the brackets at the moment until that's been refixed, which I'll do shortly. But the next stage, I'll move on, and then I can put this in as well. Whether all that work has been done to this by the end of the video is another matter. So my next stage now is to think about Viaduct. Right, thought I'd just jump in and show you what's going on here. This is the start of Viaduct. I've used the cricket machine, and that's the reason why there's a joint there, because I can only have 11 inches to cut, and this is a bit more than that. So I've had to just join that kind of like that, with obviously that piece there, which I did put into the, that's also been cut by the cricket machine as well, and then just been doused with super glue and then filed flat. It does need a little bit more, but once the paper's over that, the brick paper, you probably won't notice it at all. All right, I'll probably put a bit of filler in there too, so it'll be all right. Right, let's go and put this on the layout. Now, as you can see, they're literally just two side pieces. As I look at that, you can obviously realise that this piece here is too thick. So I will rework the interior of that. So this board will come out probably to that joint just there, and I will replace it with something different. There's obviously a girder bridge running up that bit, so that bit will be absolutely fine because I'll 3D print most of that. Well, there we go. That's about as much as I'm going to be able to manage this week. That is a mock-up of the bridge, and I'm using it to still work things out, work out distances, work out spaces. It is going to have to be a skew bridge, because if you can appreciate, the tracks cross over, well, not far off 45 degrees, to be honest. So obviously the pillars are going to have to do that as well. And I will, whether I keep them and sort of fan them back to straight, I don't know yet. That's something I'll have to think about, because whatever I do to this side is going to have a direct effect on what happens that side. I mean, bearing in mind, there's only this area really to not worry about. This will just bank down from that point and sort of come down sort of like that, and I'll just sort of blend it in really. But you can certainly get an idea of where things are going. I'll show you from the other side. So there it is from the other side, and I've just put a piece of card in there just to indicate the rest of the bridge. That is going to be, it's not the right shape at all. You might even see it sitting on top of the SCENIC brake, but it's certainly a start. And it certainly gives you an idea of where the whole layout is going. I mean, even just coming out of Piccadilly, it's got its own route now. And let's use the flicker in, but you can see that the train will go up there without any issues. And then obviously coming round here, it's going to have its own set of scenery. So it's going to be different totally from one side to the other. But I think it's coming along nicely, and I will leave the video there, I think. And you just take care of yourself, and I will speak to you again very, very soon here on Piccadilly. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.